Welcome to our second episode of Cooking with Laughter. I'm here with Barbara Rosand. And this is our second episode. She's going to make a great dish today called... Anyway, I don't know why I'm doing the intro because Barbara's going to do all the work.
Hi everyone, today we're making empanadas, which is a typical Argentinian dish. We usually have them as an appetizer before a big meal, or if not, sometimes just as the main course. There are many different kinds of empanadas that you can make, but we're going to concentrate today in the beef ones, which are the most common ones. So to get you started, I'm going to show you the ingredients. I have here 2 pounds of beef, ground beef. I use 80-20 because I want my empanadas to be juicy. I also have, for 2 pounds of beef, I have about 2 medium onions. I also have 4 boiling eggs right here that I chopped. I know eggs are expensive, and if you want, you don't have to add them to the empanadas. We all like them with eggs.
It's not more expensive than ground beef. Come on.
No, but lately, $7 a dozen empanadas.
That's why you buy 18.
It's still expensive, okay? What happened to my 99-cent? But anyway, and then we have some green onions, which will add some flavor to it. Green olives, you can use black olives or no olives. And some spices like salt, pepper, cumin, and again, Rebecca, what was that? I always get confused.
Chili flakes.
Chili flakes. The cumin here is optional. You don't have to. We like it, so we add it. So for the dough, I use La Saltena. La Saltena is a brand from Argentina. I know it because I'm from Argentina. So I like them. They do what they have to do. There are other brands that you can use, but I always stick to La Saltena. Okay, so let's chop and start cooking here a little bit. I'm gonna put my stove to medium. And tip number 1 that I'm gonna share with you is that I cook my onions with some butter. This is about 2 tablespoons of butter. You can use oil, vegetable oil, but I like butter better. It's just the empanadas don't come that oily. So I'm gonna melt the butter for a little while. Okay. And we're gonna cook the onions for about 10 minutes, halfway. You want them to be soft and kind of clear, but do not cook them all the way. We're gonna cook them all the way when we add the beef. Okay.
So in between, just so you know, this is...
Who's the one doing the cooking, Rebecca? I wonder if... Oh, that's tip number 2. Tip number 2, a little bit of alcohol. Never done it before, so we'll see how it comes out. Okay, so now that my onions are halfway done, and I would say halfway burned, we're gonna add the beef, okay? So I have here 2 pounds of beef. It's gonna give us about 4 dozen empanadas, which is actually...
4 dozen?
4 dozen empanadas, yes. And we're gonna have to make each one of them. We're gonna have to make about 50 empanadas by hand, one by one, Rebecca. So get used to it. I'm gonna teach you once. I'm not gonna teach you twice.
I think Valentina's going to take my plate.
Valentina's gonna be a great helper. By the way I chop, just, make sure that you chop the meat a little bit, the beef, so it doesn't, what do you call it, clump up? Is that a word? So we're gonna put it in there like that, let it cook for a little while. We don't want the meat 100% cooked. We want the meat about 80% cooked. And I'll show you when it's a good time to take it out of the stove. Okay. So we're about 10 minutes into cooking the beef. As you can see, it's turning less pink, more brown. And I am going to add at this point all the spices, which we have, like we said before, salt, this green flaky thing, red cumin, pepper. You can make this as spicy as you want. You can make it as salty as you want. I'm just giving you the basics. So I'm gonna let it cook for another 2 more minutes, and then I'm gonna add the remaining of the ingredients, and then we should be done. So I'm gonna turn this off, and I am going to add, at this point, the green onions, the olives. Again, these are optional. You can do black olives, you can do green olives. I usually use whatever I have in the fridge, honestly. You can also have an individual olive, and that's what I do if I'm making these for friends. But you're gonna see my son Santiago picking these little olives out because he doesn't like olives, but I don't care. So we added the olives, and the last thing that I'm gonna add is the chopped eggs, and it's usually 1 egg per dozen empanadas. We're gonna make about, like I said, 4 dozen empanadas. So I'm have here 4 hard-boiled eggs, and they're chopped. Again, you don't have to add the eggs if you don't like them. So now I'm gonna mix it all up, and I'm gonna let you know, or I'm gonna tell you my tip number 2. Tip number 2 is to make the filling earlier in the day or the day prior, because you want this to get cold and you want the juice to solidify. If you don't solidify the juice, it's going to be very hard to maneuver the empanada when you're making the repulgue. So we're gonna let it cold, we're gonna let it solidify, and then in a few hours, we are going to be able to make the empanadas. So look at this, it's beautiful. Rebecca, look at this. It's shiny, colorful, excellent. So this is done. Now I'm gonna put it out in the fridge, or just leave it outside so that it gets cold. Next step in our process, we have the empanada dough ready to go. I like to keep it in the fridge until I'm ready to fill those empanadas up. I don't want the dough to get too warm, because then it's harder to maneuver. Is that a word, maneuver?
Yes.
Maneuver. So I have here with me my wonderful daughter Valentina, who she is my help in the kitchen a lot of times, especially when I have to do the repulgue of the empanada. The repulgue is the way you close the empanada so the juice doesn't come out. Okay? So last tip, whatever that number is, 3, 4, 5, is I like to add a little bit of sugar to it. You don't have to, but I do. A little bit of splash. It's going to give it some sweetness, which we all need in our lives. So I'm going to mix it up. Okay. While we're heating up the oven, we're going to start making the empanadas. Okay, for the next step, we need some water. A lot of people don't use the water to close the empanada. I do it just in case. Nobody wants an empanada that is open, and again, the juice is coming out. Put this on the side. I just go like that. Just have the empanada. See, a little bit of water. This is going to be not complicated, but it takes some practice. At the beginning, Valentina, she was doing it. It wasn't the prettier, but now she's an expert. Just because she's got a mom who taught her very well. So I will do the first part, which is closing the empanada tight, because again, we don't want the juices coming out. We want the empanada to be flaky and juicy, just like me. There you go, Valentina. Do your repulgue. In Argentina, when you go to an empanada store, you have so many different types of empanadas. I make sometimes ham and cheese empanada, which my kids really love. They're so easy to make. You can even make them in the air fryer. I also make onion and cheese. You can make caprese, cheese, tomatoes, basil. You can make them corn, chicken, fish, whatever you can think of. So the next step, and you don't have to do this. I know eggs are expensive. I do it because egg helps seal the empanada so the juice doesn't come out. It also gives the empanada kind of like a golden glow, not globe, a golden glow. And they're going to look even prettier. I'm only doing this because I want to impress you guys. Ready for the oven at 375, about 20 minutes, but it depends on your oven too. So we'll keep an eye on it. I'll come back in about 15 and see how they're doing. Once they're golden and brown, they're ready to come out. All we have to cook is actually the dough. The filling is already cooked. Look at them, perfect and brown. Yes. I'm going to let them sit for a couple of minutes. We're going to let them cool down a little bit. They can be very hot and very juicy, which is what we want. Excellent. They look beautiful. Look at this. Beautiful. Perfect.
Barbara, I'm going to try.
Yes,
the
please.
repulgue.
Hold on 1 second. Before you do that, very hot, and it's going to be very juicy. So you need a napkin, my friend.
Do I bite into it?
Bite into it. Don't get yourself burned. No, you hold from here. That's why we have them.
Oh, that's why you got a tail. A tail.
It's like a shrimp. You got a tail. Don't get burned.
Mm.
So,
Delicious.
is it good? Delicious? Really?
I love them.
You just are saying that because you're my friend and you're in the
Well,
show?
my mouth is full. I can't say much.
Does it have enough pepper for you? We
Delicious.
need more pepper. Awesome.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Chin
Chin chin.
chin. Salute.
Salute. Salud. Salud, no salute. Salud.
Salud. Well, in Argentina.
In Argentina. I'm going to eat Valentina's repulgue one. This is perfect. I love it. Mmm.
That's a wrap. Well, we eat.
Flaky and juicy. Like me.